I slide between the covers. The sheets are cool against my skin. A bit too cool, I think. Wrapping my arms around my shoulders, an icy shiver plays its way up and down my spine. The soft glow of moonlight decorates the floor with a shimmering patchwork of silver light. Warmth. I begin to relax in the stillness. I jump, pushing the blanket to the floor, with no regard for anything but stopping the blood-curdling sound. The next second, the scream fades to a whisper. Then the room is abruptly plunged back into silence. I sit on the side of my bed, waiting for anything. Nothing comes. I push myself up off the bed and place my feet on the floor. The wood is icy cold. I take a deep breath, trying to slow the frantic beat of my heart. I wait for my chest to slow, then I blink my eyes open and turn towards the window. I freeze. A dove, her beady black eyes instantly find mine in the dark room. She turns and raises her wings, ready for departure. "No, don't leave!" I cry out silently. As if she heard me, she turns and cocks her head to one side. I wait, watching. She drops something on the windowsill. Then she turns, pumps her wings, and glides up into the night. I rush to the window and stare up at the glowing moon and scattered stars, searching for the bird. But she is gone, swallowed by the blackness, just like the scream. I pause for a moment, waiting. Then I remember. The bird drops something. I bend to get a closer look. It's a silver necklace, coiled in a pile. My hand moves to pick up the jewelry. I turn it over in my palm, then gingerly run one finger down the long chain. I see something. There is a pendant of silver, inlaid with a midnight black gem. It's crafted in the shape of a cross. I almost drop the necklace when I see the cross. This is one of the necklaces that are bestowed only upon the highest members of the church. Only 10 of them were ever created. That's when I realize the last fourth of the chain is covered in a thin coat of blood. Checking my hand, I confirm I don't have a cut. But there is a smudge of blood. Where did it come from? A bloody chain, a cross, a scream in the dark. It can only have been a member of the church, a member of the highest order. A strange feeling begins to twist in my gut. I look out over the rooftops. Nothing. I lean forward and scan the street below. I spot a dark shape in the alley. There is something dark pooling around it, forming a puddle. With my chest half out the window, squinting to distinguish the shadows, I would swear it's blood. A dove, a chain, a scream. Was I dreaming? I sit up to find it's morning, and the warm, comforting glow of the sun has replaced the icy moon. On the sill something shimmers. The necklace. I take a deep breath and slowly walk around the bed and look out. A dove, a chain, a scream. Trying to keep my heart beating normally, I glance down at the necklace. No change, except the blood is now dry and flaking off. I quickly grab the necklace and hurry to the bathroom. Standing before the mirror, I splash cold water on my face. I glance down at the necklace, then drop it in the bowl of water. A little cloud of red liquid seeps into the water, like a rust-colored storm in the bowl. A dove, a chain, a scream. I involuntarily clench my fists on the necklace and head outside. I walk across the cold stones. All my attention is on the alley where I saw the body last night. Then, when I am almost there, a flicker of white in the corner of my eye catches my attention. I glance at the roof next to me and freeze when I see the white dove perched on his chimney.
Octavio Jared, the man I chose to change the world. Bad choice? Maybe. But what's done is done. I now perch on a chimney on a building in the alley, all places I know he will visit. Others pass on their daily chores. I wait only for Octavio. He is here now. I watch Octavio as he squeezes the chain in his fist. I see he has washed the blood off of it. He seems nervous, though that's quite acceptable. The others are gone now. It is just me and Ottavio. For a moment he stands still, completely unmoving, listening. Then he whips his head around towards me. He freezes when he sees me. You know, humans think they are better than every other creature on Earth, so when they see some other creature showing intelligence, they think they are going crazy. Ottavio tries to ignore me and looks around some more. Then he turns around and walks off toward the nearby shops. He enters the coffee shop. I follow and perch nearby to survey the scene. There are families laughing, talking, and eating. There are many tables with stools around them, and a bar where most of the men are talking and laughing. I watch as Ottavio walks up to the bar and orders a cafe latte and a pastry. Good choices. Oh, I'm so hungry. I fly in and hide under the table so I can eat crumbs and spilt coffee. I wait for Ottavio to be finished and then follow him as he walks toward the judge's house. Yes, the judge's house. Surely he can help us.
Outside, the air is still cool. The dove is following me at a distance, perching at odd angles on the slanted terracotta roofs. Groups of people hurry from shop to shop, their footsteps clattering off the stone and bouncing around the narrow streets. I walk with my head down, thinking the same thoughts over and over. Why would the church do something like this? Can I be certain they did it? A dove, a chain, a scream. What do I do now? I glance down at the chain, and my heart speeds up a bit. Then I pause, with one hand on the stone wall next to me. A short, roundish man with a white beard and a balding head pushes his way out onto the street. He is carrying a large bundle of papers and a model with little brightly colored orbs. In his hurry, he smacks into me. His papers and model fall to the ground in a disorganized pile. A pile that somehow now includes me. The little man starts to collect his work in a rage, shouting insults as he does so. He shoves me aside to grasp the paper I had landed on. I move grudgingly, and as I do so, the necklace falls to the ground. The faint clank of metal on stone rings like a clap of thunder in my head. I glance down at the necklace. It is right by the man's feet. Time seems to stop as he bends and scoops it up. His calculating eyes scan the surface in seconds. I shiver. He stands stone still. Then the man raises his chestnut eyes to mine. You are very brave, he says slowly. My brow furrows. Does he know? Then he presses the chain into my hand. I know about this. It is for you to proclaim the truth. I'm getting everything in order so that I can do the same when it is my time. The little man glances quickly, side to side. He sees no one. Then he whispers to me. Look, he says, lifting a couple of models and drawings. Then, pointing to them, he explains. The universe is not as the church proclaims. Not at all. We are not at the center. Not the most important. Look! The universe does not rise and fall around us, like a clamshell turning for our entertainment, as we sit mesmerized in our theater seats. No, no! It is not so! Hush, now! Here, hide in the shadows to look. The priests will put me to death if they see this. Look closely, my son. It is the earth that travels around the sun. We are not at the center of the universe, but merely another planet, spinning round and around, traveling our path in the solar system. I gasp. You must tell the people. We cannot let them live in ignorance, prisoners of the church. Nay, it is not yet my time, young man. Not yet. But soon it will be. I have these teachings of the great Nicholas Copernicus. He knew it all, but he could not prove it. I have refined the telescope so that I may do just that, prove it all. Look, Look in here and see the heavens. Soon, very soon, it will be my time. But now it is your time. You have to be a voice for our people. You have to tell the truth. You have to set them free." I want to see more, but the old man hushes me. Then he pulls a piece of paper out of his coat, writes something on it, and tucks it in with the necklace. Then he turns, and, holding his work under his right arm, he weaves off between the buildings. I stand in shocked silence, running the necklace through my fingers. Then I unfold the paper and read.
What does the paper say? I swoop down over his head. Numbers. I swoop down again. 171? Ottavio shoos me away. He reads the paper carefully, and then starts running into the alley. I fly after him. He runs so fast. I try to tell him to slow down, but I'm a dove, and he's a human. But all he hears is chirp, chirp, and chirp. It's so annoying being a bird. Ottavio runs into different alleys and looks at the numbers on all the buildings. I follow him all the way into an alley I've never been in. He runs out of the alley and stares at something. I look at what he's staring at and see a big building. My beak drops. Then he runs into the big building and shuts the door. I look at the numbers on the door. There is a 1, a 7, and a 1, mixed in with some other numbers. I fly around the big building and look for an opened window. I find none. I perch on a branch next to a window and look in. Ottavio is looking at shelves and shelves of books. They line the walls, and desks weave in between the shelves. I wait while Ottavio looks and looks for the right book. I still don't know why he's looking for a book, but I guess it has something to do with what he's going to tell the judge, because that's where he was going before he bumped into that man. I can't see Ottavio anymore. He must have gone to look somewhere else. Ottavio comes back. He's holding a book. Finally, he sits down and opens it.
The book has a plain leather cover, with fading gold letters that read, "The Diary of Leonardo da Vinci." I open it carefully, half afraid it will crumble in my rough hands. The first page is covered in neat writing, broken only by the occasional date of a sketch. I hunch over the paper and begin to read. The world drifts away, and I am back in 1502. As I turn the pages, I feel Leonardo's hand moving across the page as he jots down notes about his ideas. I feel as though I can hear him speaking, as though I have walked into a little cramped studio where an old man stands with a bird.
I pull open the window and set the cage on the table next to it, with the door of the cage facing the massive blue expanse of the sky. A breath of air pours into the room. The scent is sweet. I look at my hawk. How far has she flown? A smile dances its way onto my face when the hawk's head lifts. She shivers, and new life seems to spread over every feather. Still, after all these years, it amazes me how material things, like wings and muscles, can offer birds a glimpse of the most amazing thing in the world: freedom, the freedom of flight. The hawk lets out a heart-wrenching scream. The sound pulls me out of my ponderings and reminds me this creature belongs to no one. Murmuring thanks, I take a quick look at my sketch of her. Yes, I have it all there. I slip my hand into the leather glove next to the cage and lift the catch. She raises her wings, and with one smooth stroke rejoins the breath of the sky. I stay at the window for a moment, watching the bird swoop across the sky. For one perfect moment I feel as though I am there next to her, the wind rushing through our feathers, the sun on our backs. But as her slim frame disappears, the feeling disperses, and I find myself back in my studio. Still smiling, I glance over the various sketches, half finished, of the flying machine, as well as my sketches of my war machines. I hope that one day I will build them. They will save many lives. one day. But looking at the unfinished sketches of paintings and models littering my desk, I'm not so sure I will. I slump into my chair. Then I pick up one of my many sketchbooks and slowly glance through it. Sometimes I feel the whole world is calling me to invent the next thing, and the next. The hawk calls me to fly, and the turtle to protect the army. How many men could we save at war with my tank? And how many battles could my catapult bring to a swift end? Time, time. There is not time for all of my musings. I have only a book full of sketches and a half-done model or two. Setting my notebook down, I let my eyes wander over the unfinished paintings on my easel. I'm not sure I like the shading I put on the woman's robe. Maybe a darker blue, or green. Still, overall, I'm quite pleased with her. The bird. I'm back at the world of clouds, wind, and sun. I sit back in my chair and stare up at the blanket of blue. Freedom.
Leonardo da Vinci, a great man, but I could never see the world as he did. I set the book down, thinking to put Leonardo far behind, but my mind kept turning over the last word of the entry. Freedom. Freedom. My heart is beating fast again, a fast but steady drumbeat. Freedom. I, too, must search for the truth and freedom. This time it is not fear that plays my heart, it's excitement. Excitement and the knowledge that what I'm about to do may cost me my life, but I have to do it anyway. I have the necklace in my hand, and I know the truth. One of the highest men of the church has committed a murder. I have to tell the truth. I have to let everyone know, or the people are just like caged hawks. No minds of their own. I must open the cage as Leonardo did, and set them free. My mind wanders back to the man with the models. Galileo. Was that the name he gave me? He is right. This is my time. My time to bring freedom. I hope his will come soon, but this one, now, is mine. I turn and walk slowly out. I straighten my shoulders, take a deep breath, then I take the necklace out of my pocket and hold it high above my head.
I watch as Octavio closes the book and walks out of the library. I don't know what he read, but the way he's walking I can tell he feels more confident than before. Octavio walks up to some strange man and starts talking to him, but I don't know what he's talking about. I tried to get closer, but there are so many people down there it's hard to hear them. After a while, Octavio starts walking away looking discouraged, and the man grabs his arm and turns him around, says something, and then they walk away together. Octavio walks to different groups of people. Some follow him, and some don't. A mob forms behind him. Men and women and children are following the man I picked. Maybe he was a good choice. Octavio walks towards the church, his mob billowing behind him like a cloak, flying in the wind.
One step, and then another. As I walk, a crowd begins to gather. One by one, they walk behind me. Maybe they can hear the truth beating in my heart. Maybe they have come to help me. Stand up to the church. Stand up for truth. One step, and then another. A few moments later, I stand before the priests, the ministers, and the students of the word of the Lord. My heart is pounding. It pounds so hard that I fear will beat out of my chest. The people who follow me are standing in rows behind me now. The room is so quiet I can hear the soft whish of air leaving dozens of lungs. I take one step forward, and, lifting the necklace, I shout into the silent faces of the men of the church. One of you is a murderer! A murderer! My voice is surprisingly loud, even to me. It echoes around the room before it is smothered by the silence. How come you by this? One of the men, who is sitting in an ornately carved chair, asks. His voice is thick and deep like molasses, so much stronger than mine A bird of the Lord brought it to me, I say. One of you has lost your necklace. Why don't you come and claim it? I taunt, swinging the chain. Blasphemy! One of the ministers shouts, pounding his fist onto the arm of his chair. You cannot prove this! I freeze. He is right. I did not think this through. For a moment, there is only frozen silence. Then I feel a hand on my shoulder, and turning, I see a tall man with a golden beard and blue eyes. I cleaned the body this man speaks of, he says in a deep voice. I took it to its burial. Then a woman from the crowd holding a baby calls out, I heard the scream! Slowly, more and more people come forward with stories that line up with mine. The members of the church begin to look nervous, but then the priest, who had been silent up to this point, stands up, in a voice like thunder shouts, You traitor, you! My name is Octavio Jared, I say, and I demand justice. What of the sixth commandment? Thou shalt not kill. The priest's face is turning purple with rage. He turns to the guard next to him, points to me, and walks out of the room. As the guards approach me, I shout, You think that killing me will stop my message? As long as there is one soul in this city, there shall be defiance. I scan the crowd, hoping, and then I see him there, almost buried by the others, Mr. Galileo, with his papers and his models and his new telescope. Yes, Mr. Galileo is there. You can silence me, I shout, but there will be others to come. I look out at Galileo a moment. He nods to me with a sorrowful smile. One day, I shout, one day these people will be free, free like birds released from their cages. Suddenly, a hand is slapped over my mouth, and I am escorted toward the stake. Now a sniveling little man standing next to me grabs my arms. His fingers are icy cold and covered in something wet. He ties my arms behind my back and around the pole. The awkward position wrenches my shoulders into a strange position, but I know it's nothing compared to what I am about to experience. The ropes are tight, and the crowd falls into a cold silence.
I watch as Octavio is tied to the stake. I can see the terrified look on his face. He knows this is the end. He knew this was his last stand, and he knows he has changed the lives of so many people. He knows he told the truth. He knows. And that's all that matters. The flames lick up onto the body of the teller of the truth, my chosen one, Octavio Jared. His eyes close, accepting death, accepting fate. I search the crowd for more truth-tellers like Octavio. One man watches with a sad look on his face. I have seen him before, I believe, but I don't remember Octavio collecting him when he was finding people that would follow him. Oh, yes, he was the man with the orbs, the man who whispered to Octavio in the shadows. This was the man who gave Octavio the paper in the first place. I fly down onto his shoulder. He doesn't shoo me away. He just looks at me and then turns his head back to Octavio. He just looks at me and then turns his head back to Octavio. Octavio's eyes search the crowd, looking for... They come to rest on me. He sees the shoulder I sit on. He knows the truth will be carried forward. He smiles. The flames have almost swallowed him now. A scream fills the sky. The necklace falls into the ashes. Octavio is gone.